Well, hey there team, welcome back to the channel and welcome to Cultist Simulator. I'm having a look at this because I noticed that it's on sale on Steam, and any excuse to cover this I will take because it's a game I've been covering as long as I've had this channel. I really like it. It's really unique and unusual, with a heavy dose of Cthulhu-like mythos, Lovecraftian. Well, you're building a bloody cult and a lot of writing. I wouldn't say it's a visual novel or anything like that, but there's definitely a heavy amount of writing, but it's very well done and it's in that weird bloody Cthulhu mythos type setting. We had a look at the Exile Dlc earlier in the year. You could probably find that video if you had a look, and you can see here these are all the different DLCs. Now they actually sort of can wildly change the gameplay, especially the Exile. It's almost a different game, so that's why we're having a look at this just sort of vanilla today. Even though I would almost argue I like the Exile better because I've played both a lot, but this is still fantastic at its core. Let's just start fresh. We'll pause it. So Stacklands is another game that came out recently that reminds me a lot of this, where you have a clock that ticks along. You can fast forward. We'll just pause again. And you're essentially doing actions with cards that will have a timer associated with them, and when they tick, it finishes. And from that, you essentially evolve your play space, right? You'll see what I mean, but it's, like I said, if you haven't seen this before, it's quite unusual, and the only game I can think of is Stacklands that does something similar, albeit that's more of a colony manager. But they're both fantastic. Oh, look at this, they've added extra card slots for us. Okay, cool. I'm still not even 100% sure what these are for. So you can name your dude. Let's call him Gronk, right? And you potentially can die because you've got health and all that here. And if you do die, not to get ahead of myself, but like you can potentially play as, the next round you'd potentially play as like a police officer investigating Gronk's death, and it actually will tie back and drop the name of your previous dude into the cards and all that. So there's this like legacy component. Very cool. Anyway, let's click here. Work, earn a living, or practice the invisible arts. So essentially we have this action token, and if you click on this, it will highlight cards, and you can get bazillions of cards, right? But for the moment, we've only got one. But clicking on this gives you a bit of a hint of what can go in there. And you can click on that. Menial employment, precarious position as a hospital porter. Miserable, but it's all that you can find just now. Okay, right. So we're gonna put that in there. We're gonna press start. And then it starts a 10-second timer. We'll unpause it. We've got it on fast forward. And then you finish there, right? And then it develops the story basically. Halfway through, another shift at the hospital. Halfway through your shift, the head porter beckons you aside. We won't require your services any longer, he says. Here, your last payment. We've paid you through to the end of the month. I've lost my job. At least now I have a little time to rest, and my health improves. So you can see it unlocks these cards which you can reveal. So we've got health and funds, and you can collect them and it will plonk them. Looks like it puts them straight into there. Oh, look at this. Okay, so that's for slotting actions. Ah, okay, that's kind of cool. Let's see what we can do with that. Can I put it there and there? Okay, sure, let's do that. That's a bit more organized because this game becomes so messy. Organizing it is insane. So we've unlocked dreaming. Recall dreams. Once again, I dream of a glow beneath the filthy skin of the world. The light through the black door, the pale door, the old man. Okay, sure, why not? So this is sort of on cooldown. It's almost summoning sickness. Work. We can work with health, unskilled labor. And if you think about it, you'll start to see the threads that tie it together. You apply your health for work, and that manifests as unskilled labor, which makes sense, right? If you apply your intellect, that will lead to administrative work, for example, in a 9-to-5 grind. So, there is some sense behind the madness. Backbreaking work for meager pay. Is this the best that I can do? Well, let's do it because we need the money. And this, of course, is just funds, enough to support me for a little while in adequate comfort. I don't want to jump ahead because some of the mechanics will show themselves as we go. Okay, so that slots like that, does it? So Okay, let's try that. Let's see if it keeps going along at that spacing. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, so we've unlocked a change in the air. I need funds to live, but perhaps this recent upset in my circumstances is a secret blessing. Is there something to my dreams? There is a change in the air. Okay, so we'll let that sort of just cool down, as it were. Now dreaming has done there. It began when I spoke to the old man in the hospital. He knew my name, but he's dead now. The pneumonia. Why do I dream of him still? What is the cobalt's light in my dreams? So something weird's going on. We've got contentment and we've got passion, right? Now, it seems to have auto-slot them. What is going on there? Why are you stacking things? Maybe I should use this as like a sorting tray. Maybe that's the move. Yeah. Maybe that's the move. Let's try that. Let's put you there. No, I don't know. Let's put you there. And as things come out the gate, we'll sort them, right? How close can I put you? That's kind of cool. All right, so let's just plonk funds. If you click on the number, you can drag the whole lot. Let's plonk funds over here. Now, passion, you can see down here, 1, 0, 1. These are sort of your core stats. Money is a bit stranger, but it's sort of part of it anyway. And contentment represents a temporary card. It's got a timer associated with it. And at the end of 60 seconds, it will expire. There you go. I'm happy, I think. Contentment defends against dread, but contentment doesn't last. So there are dread cards, and if you get enough of them, that there are negative consequences. I think if you get 3 dread, they stack and turn into something else. I can't quite remember for sure, but essentially the contentment's sort of like a bit of a ward in a way. So if we get dread during that time, they should 1-to-1 cancel each other. These stats here we won't talk about just yet, but they're part of it all as well. Anyway, passion. We can dream with passion. Dull minds are never either intuitive or mathematical. With enough glimmering, you can study to gain more passion. That's how you level up, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So we're going to dream of passion. I know this dream, the moonlight road or moonlit road. A road crests a hilltop and the air is silver bright. Yeah. Dream away. Now what this is, well, in this case it's lore, but there's like a sort of sub-inspiration. We don't have any lore cards, but you could put a card in here to augment this. All right, you still with me? It's a bit unusual for sure. It's a lot unusual. But boy, oh boy, it is a fun ride. It can be a bit of a grind, and I can understand people's frustration with the trial and error. Yeah, look at that, it auto-slots it. So this is a sorting tray. So this is time passing, I believe. No, okay, you don't want to that's fine. Let's just put you like that, that's fine. Okay, time passes. Time, the sundial's shadow passes. I must have funds to live or I will become ill. Pretty self-explanatory. Magnet means it will suck that card in whether you like it or not. So if it comes, so this is, your living expenses, rent, groceries, whatever. If you can't fulfill that in the timer, you will have one of your health cards turn into a sickness card, I think is how it works. Again, it all makes a lot of sense once you sort of get it. Let's space these out the way the game seems to want them to be. Okay, cool. Unskilled labor. The day is gone and so am I, but I've earned my pay. So you can see there, we've got funds, we've got vitality, and our health card is fatigue. So if we were to turn all this over, so you can see here, we've got it in brackets 0 and 1. So we do have a health card, but if it was called upon for an event or for whatever reason we can't use it, we can't use it for unskilled labor because it's fatigued, right? So we need to wait for it to finish the timer. And at the end of the timer, it will flip back over. So it's like tapping mana in Magic, right? Now, Vitality is another temporary card, but it's actually linked to health. Remember we mentioned Glimmering just before? I don't mind this little offset. It's kind of cool. It's always good when I come back to this and they've twisted the little UI elements a little bit. Passion and Glimmering, I think. But anyway, Vitality. When we unlock Study, which I believe is this, we'll be able to use Vitality together to level that up into health. But because it's temporary, you sort of have to strike while the iron's hot, as it were. Okay, cool. Work. We don't really have any cards that we can use for that. So we'll just let the timer tick. God, this game's good. Like I said, it's on sale, go get it. So there you go, there goes our contentment. Now when we get this sort of, I don't know, imprint, it usually indicates you've made some sort of headway in the main story. And I think in this case it will be the dream. The moonlit road, rumpled fields, the wink of a river, a tingling chill. Yeah, good. Well, you try describing your dreams, you probably have the same problem. And if you click on here, it'll probably tell you more. Dream of doors. Tonight is the dream of the labyrinth of doors. Now, I'm still not 100, like every game I play. I played the beginning and the middle, you know. I'm still not 100% how exactly the dream world works in this. But you can basically portal into the dream place and use all different ways to look at the different areas of the mansis, as it's called, right? Dream of doors. I dreamt of opening doors, red doors and gold doors, and doors of glass and doors bound like books, and railway carriage doors and castle gates. Behind one was the something I seek. I woke with the slamming of doors still in my ears. So our passion is exhausted and we've got some temporary restlessness, just like contentment. You click on it here. A restless longing has me. I feel that I want to do something, but what exactly? So we are temporarily restless, but we could use these aspects in certain ways if we were doing vault quests. So there's like a raid mechanic in this where you build a party and you raid these things called vaults, or they're like dungeons, and you have to pass skill checks with your various members of your cult. But this is a little bit further down, and something like this can come in handy to use against these different aspect types. Passion exhausted. I don't know, let's plonk that there. Work. I could dream with funds, which is you basically buy opium. An expensive and risky way to gain contentment. It may provide sickness or despair, so you can sort of force contentment to happen. You can also dream with the health card for recovery, to recover from fatigue, but since it's only got 6 seconds, that would be a waste. But you can see here, does it show us the timer? No, it doesn't. But anyway, if you do have the space, dreaming your fatigue back is quicker. There we go, so the time ticks on, takes our money. And then we've got this, a bequest arrives. The old man has bequeathed me a sum of money and a packet of peculiar papers, poetry, riddles, metaphysical speculations. For the first time in months, here is some fuel for my reason. So we've unlocked, what have we unlocked here? A bunch of money that has been left to us, so that'll tide us over, that's cool. The actual bequest itself, if you study it, you can find something out. And then we now have reason, basically. And there are our core stats covered. So let's put that there. And the bequest, right? So we're going to stick it in the new study slot, right? And you can use your approach, which would be either passion or reason. Reason is not exhausted, so we will bend our reason against it. I'll examine each item with meticulous care. Let's let that tick for a little bit. We could... Can you just dream on normal health? An early night. With luck, I'll wake refreshed. Sometimes this will provide contentment. Often it will do nothing. Occasionally it will create dread or fascination. Okay. It probably couldn't hurt to have a contentment there. Let's do it. Let's do it. We're not hurting for money. I do like, in the earlier builds of this game, because it is very much about figuring it out, they didn't have the tooltips telling you quite so much info. So the fact that it's hand-holding a bit more, I honestly think is a big advantage, because a lot of people would get frustrated trying to poke and prod, and it almost turns into a pixel hunt game, which I hate those sort of games. You just have to click everything on the screen to figure out what to do. There's a difference between letting the player figure it out and then just being bloody obtuse. Okay. Examine the bequest employing reason. My correspondent describes my dreams exactly. They use names that are instantly familiar. The house, the wood, the hours, the glory. They knew secrets beneath time and the skin of the world. A new curiosity burns in me. There is a note here. Directions to a bookshop that does not advertise its wares. So this bequest that was left to me is talking about the dreams that I am familiar with. So we've got directions to this bookshop. We've got a temptation toward enlightenment. It has occurred to me that I hold the key to wisdom. This card will allow you to win an enlightenment victory if you upgrade it far enough. Dreaming about it may advance it or change it, right? So here's our victory condition presented. Notes on a possible collaborator. My correspondent had recorded his observations of me. He believed I had potential. He recorded his observations of someone else too. With time and study, perhaps I can find that person. And now we've got a Watchman's Secret, which is essentially a lore piece. Is been expressed like this. Each hour has its color, but color exists only where there is light. Cool, so let's collect all this crap. We'll stick this over here, start a little lore stack. Oh, there's like a little outline where it's gonna sit. Ah, cool. Right, well, I don't think we can really work towards this. A great work. The final fulfillment of a desire is often a conclusion. It is not enough to hope. I stand or fail on my deeds. Desires are often means to winning the game. The desire for sensation or power or enlightenment will require a great ritual, but there are other even rarer desires, especially in the Ghoul Priest and Dancer expansions, right? So for the moment, we can't work towards it, but we need to sort of realize it before we can codify it, I guess. Okay, collaborator, Watchman's Secret. What have we got here? Study, direction to Moorlands. Let's do that. The directions to Moorlands shop are cryptic. When one deals in the kind of books my correspondent studies, one must be circumspect. Okay, and I don't think, reason, let's do that. Work with reason, find clerical work. Find work which will spare my body, if not my mind. Okay. Off we go. There we go. Glover and Glover have offered me a junior position. I start at 8 sharp tomorrow morning. So now we have a job, and it has an expiration associated with it, in which case that sort of represents not turning up to work. And should that flip, you sort of have to get in the bad books, or you can get sacked and all this sort of stuff. So yeah, you kind of need to turn up to work. Junior work at Glover and Glover, the scratching of pens, the sourness of dust, the sighing of the younger Glover, the greedy gurgling of the elder. So what we could do here is apply reason to exert, well, not exert, but to be diligent. You can see their diligence in our actual work, right? The extra effort. I will apply extra effort, perhaps they'll appreciate it. Maybe. Let's put it there. So our passion's refreshed. Our restlessness has turned into dread. That's shit. I didn't realize that was going to happen. I've seen too much. The nameless gnawing of fear has its teeth in my hopes and existential horror. Well, hopefully we can dream up some contentment to get rid of it. Geez, a lot of things just happened there. Okay, so what's this? Trysts and interludes. If I have a particular friend, now is the time to renew our connection. I don't, so let's not worry about that. Ticking of the clock's taken my money. Something's, There you go, so I got contentment there at the end. Now I think I have to dream them together to get rid of it, but we'll see. Explore. Now that I've found a location, I can explore it. We've also got an occult piece of scrap there. And this is kind of uniquely different to these other scrap types. There's so many different lore types, right? But the occult one you can actually use to explore and find new areas. The others are just more mission related. Okay, find Morland's shop. An ill-lit street is an ill-favoured bend, or at an ill-favoured bend in a lesser river. A soft yellow light through a grimy window. Miss Morland nods as I enter but doesn't rise. I never ask the names of my clients, she informs me before I have time to introduce myself. Explorer is unlocked, and we've also unlocked the location, which is Morland's shop. Okay, so what are we going to do next? Let's see. What if let's explore Morland's, and it's going to cost you money. Boom. Add to your library. It takes time to sort the gold from the dross, the wheat from the chaff, the blood from the water. If I buy enough books, I'll find something interesting. And if you've ever played like tabletop Cthulhu stuff, works in circulation. Oh, that's cool. I don't think I've seen that symbol before. This is usually a core part of like any sort of Lovecraft Cthulhu adventure, is the front loading of the knowledge seeking, the investigating, going through newspaper clippings and going to the library and all that. And I can understand that might seem very dull to some people, but for those interested in this genre, it's very much true to the sort of storytelling arc and loop. And again, like I said, the tabletop foundations, if you've ever played the RPGs and all that sort of stuff. Okay, so what can we do here? We can study. Now, all of these are highlighting, but I don't know if you can really do much with them. For example, with passion, if I propose to learn any stuff, I wouldn't be reading this stuff. Read sentimental. Oh, hang on, what is this? That's something different. But like vitality, you need multiple vitality to convert into health. And each time you do it, it goes up. So at first it's 2, but then it becomes 4. So it becomes harder and harder to unlock more of these points. If we were to see now, to study this, you would need another one, and it will turn it into the next tier of lore. So you sort of level up its rarity in a way. Dread might be possible with the right combination to raise more power. Interesting that I can study Dread. Huh. Maybe I've forgotten. I can't quite remember. What else could I study here? Let's do the passion thing. Read literature, as it were. Okay. Right, so we finished dreaming. An early night. Imagine a box of mirrors where each mirror contains a sweeter light. Now imagine that in the 7th mirror there is only an ordinary dawn, an ordinary bed, the dull beginnings of an ordinary day. Imagine that and long for light. Okay, sure. Fascination. Light leaks through the cracks. My mind is brighter than it ever was. The higher I rise, the more I see. All right, we get it. You're fascinated. It's kind of cool. Let's plonk that over here. Okay, so I think if we dream of dread, we can remove it with contentment. There we go. I remember that I was different before. Good, because we don't want that dread ticking over. So yeah, and a big part of this game is poking and prodding it, failing, learning from each run, as you do with most roguelikes. Add to your library, right? So we've got this, the Viennese Conundra. Nico Vendriel describes odd events in Vienna. The disappearance of children, epidemics of parasite activity, animal mutilations, nightmares of worms, the activities of a charitable organization, the New Legions that funds the burial of the poor. She proposes peculiar connections between these activities. I kind of like this fiction within fiction, you know, these texts that gives you a blurb of what's in the text, but you don't ever know, you don't ever really read it. However, we can essentially, you know, let's get a little bookshelf going on down here, but we can essentially study all of this for more lore. You can find texts in different languages, like in Latin, and so then you need to study books on Latin in this to level up your ability to read that language to then decipher that book. So it's all very cool. Anyway, so Moorlands is mostly just for finding more stuff. You can explore with health. You can just search the city for leads, as it were. But I might use the occult scrap, actually. Seek out the secret places of the city. There are places in the city where I can find extraordinary things if I can sift the clues out of history and rumor. So, you know, the way I see it is, you know, you have this scrap of scrawlings of information and you're like exploring the city to try and figure out what that means and potentially finding a location associated with it. Anyway, you can see why I find this sort of world building so fascinating. It's so unusual. A promotion. Mr. Eldon, the supervisor of records, has called me into his office to recognize my diligence. I watch the mole on his neck as he talks and talks and talks, but at the end of it, I have a promotion. My new position is better paid and the desk stands by the street window, but I work directly for Mr. Eldon now, and he is known to be exacting. All right, well, there you go. So we've got a better position. I mean, there's not many other options for work. Health. We'll just keep working on this. A position in records under Mr. Eldon. I earn a little more. I stay a little later. Mr. Eldon watches me closely. If you don't attend regularly, you'll suffer a demotion. What else does this say? I'm better paid than I was, but Mr. Eldon has taken an interest in me. He's very particular. He likes things done just so, and he has never believed that I am qualified for this position. Right, okay, so he's looking for cracks. Looking for cracks in it. Okay, what's going on here? The wrong kind of attention. The city is rife with journalists and detectives and other meddlers. How long will they leave me in peace? So this would be more of a problem if we were causing more of a stir. Like, we're not exactly going to clubs and talking about occult stuff, because that's sort of your next step, and then you start to get connections and potentially followers, and then build this reputation, right? This infamy, and then you start getting investigated potentially by the police, all sorts of elements, and so this is more, you know, we're kind of a nobody still, but as we become a bit more of an infamous somebody, we'll have to deal with people building like a legal case against us, for example. Okay, read sentimental literature. I've passed the time. I've been inclined to tears and afterwards inclined to laughter. Meanwhile, the world continues. So we got a glimmering from passion. That's kind of cool. It has dimmed my reason. Wait, hang on, no. Right, I see. So I could probably do that again, right? And then generate another glimmering and then level it up. But now it starts to get interesting. It's like, well, do I want to read this book? Do I want to learn about collaborators? What do I want to do here? I think the answer is I will, in fact, go and try and get myself another glimmering and just make the most of it while I can. Clear my mind. The sun still moves, the wind still walks. My journals are the labyrinth clue. Fleeting reminiscence. A moment in time. In another moment, it will be gone. We might actually be able to study that. I can't be sure. Dream of fascination. Reminders. And like, oh, reminiscence, here we go. Seek composure. The door of vision swings wide. A little darkness will mellow my light. Even dread has its uses. Well, let's use a reminiscence. See how that goes. This is good. I can't remember all the bits and pieces to this. Okay. Seek out the secret places of the city. This place merits a closer investigation. So we found Forgotten Mithrium, right? So let's put this over here. So this is a location. You can see it's got a vault. So if you can lead a little expedition in here and complete it, which is no small task, then you quite often will get lots of rewards, books, artifacts, all sorts of cool items and loot, basically. Curiosity seekers have picked over this ancient temple, but there may be a hidden door here somewhere. Yeah, so I don't have any followers to send, so a little bit wasted. Can I explore the notes on the collaborator? Is that how this works, or is it study? Let's use health to explore. Search the city, crowded thoroughfares by day, a fog-wrapped labyrinth by night. I'll walk the streets seeking secrets until I can walk no more. Here we go. The curious few. My name just now is clear. Any guardians remain in the shadows. So, contentment, our reasons refreshed, work over time at Alden's insistence. I do not believe that you have properly understood importance of our work here. The task will require your full attention. Well, our reason did just tick over, we might as well. The work is complete when I have assessed the work as complete, and not before. I trust we understand each other. We do. A hireling. I found someone whom I may pay to enact regrettable necessities. So, a hulking fellow. Oh, okay, so it gives me an idea of who it is. That's cool. So he has Edge Aspect 3, which is actually fucking big. So essentially, we found a dude that we can hire, and if I were to put money into the payment slot, I'll pay them for a time, and I'll have a timer, and I'll have to keep paying them to keep them in my employ. So they're not just a follower that follows me, like, let's say, ideologically and wants to be in the cult. This is a paid dude. But with Edge 3 especially, you can send this dude to assassinate all sorts of people. You start to learn what all the different aspects are. But yeah, Edge 3. Like, this has lantern, right? And heart. You get all sorts. And then you have these that aren't lore aspects, but more designators. So this is a location and a vault, and it's located in the capital. So you start to learn what all the little things do. But I don't want to hire that guy just yet. And I believe if you explore with health, that's generally how it is. You find hirelings. Yeah. So we might just let that run out, even though he'd be a cool dude to hire. I don't think it's worth paying him over and over and over again in the, for the next hour or two until someone attacks me. Okay, cool. Anyway, Cultist Simulator. Very unusual, very unique. You should check it out if you find it interesting. However, I can see some people looking at this and going, wrong, boring, yawn, don't want to play it. That's fine. It's a game. Not all games are for everybody, but I'm a big fan of this. I love it so much. Let me know if you find it interesting or if you've played it. Maybe pick it up yourself. That'd be cool. I like to hear about that. And then beyond that, if you want to see more on the channel, I'm happy to do more episodes anyway. So maybe you'd rather just watch me play through it, pick it up another time or something like that. Let me know. Otherwise, we might just leave it there for the time being, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.